안녕하세요. 여보세요입니다. 감사합니다. Cherry Bullet, Love in Space. It's a cool name for a group, Cherry Bullet. I don't know much about it. A newer group to me. I think this is off of their second album. So let's check it out. Space Cat. Super up tempo, man. Like, this song is moving so fast. It's like but really impressive rhythms too in the vocal work, especially the beginning. Because this count is so fast, it's like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a... So you heard a lot of that 16th note subdivision in the first verse, like when the vocal comes in, and it's cool. It's always like that's almost like that sing rap kind of thing that's going on. A lot of control though, like really controlled. It's cool. It feels really cool. Oh, it's definitely like it is that synth wave, like almost like an 80s type of sound. The opening of it almost sounds like a synth wave with a synthwave take on something disco like, mostly in the beginning. As the song continues on, it leans more into that synthwave 80s type of feel. Punchy percussion, like electronic drum sounds, a cool, really cool bass, very noir, the way that synthwave, retro wave kind of bass sound, like it always is a little on the dark side, but other really colorful synth sounds in there also. Moving into the bridge section too is a little really fast. It's almost like the whole scale, actually. I mean, it's 16 note subdivisions, and it's like it's real fast. You could hear, and it comes at the beginning of the phrase. But really, it's cool. It's really cool. And the vocals are impressive. Just the sheer delivery, just the flat out like rhythms in a lot of these vocal parts are actually quite impressive. Tons of reverb. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Yeah, there's strings in there. There's synth string sounds that are going on in there. That's what gives it a bit of a disco type of feel. But also the chords, like the actual chord progression itself. It's interesting. It's man. These new gen groups. So this is like a more recent generation group, a fourth gen group kind of. But they're doing something that the definitely like third gen groups had done, doing like an 80s type of sound, you know what I mean, or style, but it's probably just the sheer the tempo of it, the absolute like incredibly fast beat, it's all in the delivery. It's all in the delivery, but it's good. Like what I mean is it's all in the delivery, but you got to be pretty good if you're gonna deliver, in this way. Was it 1, 2, 3, and 4? And like it's so fast, dude, but it's good. It's super clean. It's synth hits that are going on. I think it's just an arpeggio. It might have some delay on it. It's got light reverb, but I think there's delay on it too. But I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, bim bum bim bum. But the delay, you hear another like hit in there, bim bum bim bum bim bum bim. The mix is super rich, man. Like there's so much synth in this, and there's the electronic drum sound, and then also the vocal. It's going on over. Like it's a super saturated mix. So in that section right there, right, the sort of chorus part, when it comes in, the stuff that's going on in the bass part, right? It's the synth bass sound that you have. There's two things that could be going on here from what I'm hearing, right? Either you have two different synth sounds that are, either outlining the chord, or really it's all off of the root of each chord. But so in other words, a lighter one and a lower one both playing together, or what's happening is it's actually one synth sound, but its lower end frequency is panned more to the left, while its higher end is panned to the right. Because I hear two things that sound like they're in the bass part going on at the same time. The lower end is definitely panned left, but there's another part that's not the rhythm, it's not the vocal, like it's not melodic, it's below all of that stuff, and it feels like it's the upper half of what the bass synth is composed of. So it's either two different synth sounds that are like stacked on top of each other, layered kind of, or it's one synth that has its higher end, the sort of top of the wave is like panned right, while the bottom of the wave is panned left, if that makes any sense. And then, and also, once in the higher end synth stuff that's going on, the stuff that sounds like the synth string hits that are going on, it's the other way around. I hear most of the body in those over on the right side, and there's this like the higher end part of that, the real sort of stringy, narrow, airier sound, or airier part of it is left. So it's most of your body's on one side, and then the sort of, more, would you say it, like more the space of the frequency, like where it's light, thinner, like that's separated. It's a really cool effect. It's a really awesome, sound. But it's super interesting though. Most of the vocals are like pretty much in the middle. They're in the center. They're definitely got some power behind the voices though. Like the verse deliveries, not, the dynamic isn't incredibly high. It's more of an emphasis on the rhythm. And then when the chorus section comes around, there's definitely a good amount of like power behind the voice. The dynamic level really comes up. So the beginning of that, it was cool. There was little backing vocal harmonies that were going on left. The main vocal line was still right. And so you had more like more harmony sound, a fuller sound here. But at the end of the phrase, as the vocal, melody line came to its end, you got doubling of vocals in the right side as well. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on with space in this mix, in all your different parts, right? Let's see, the percussion, I gotta listen to that a little bit more carefully, because it seems like it's pretty set, like wherever the percussion is. I don't hear too much like splitting up the sounds or breaking up the sounds, at least not, I haven't heard it yet. There it is. You hear that right at the start, like that 16th notes, and it could just be this entire scale. Like that's so quick you could fit it in there. If not, it's an arpeggiation over 2 chords. But it's because they don't sound like too chromatic. They sound like pretty much, just the notes that would outline the chord then. Or otherwise, no, that would be in the scale. It sounds really cool though. Percussion dropped out. We have a snaps now on 2 and 4. That bass, that synth bass, it's sort of swelling up or rising up every time it comes along. Plays the root. A lot more space in the bridge part. Because the mix is like so saturated, right, for the song up until this point. In other words, so this part in Love in Space is where there's actually the most space, like the most actual open space in between the parts that are going on in the mix. It's very cool. It's nice, right? Like it's good. The mix is good, even when it's much busier. That really upbeat tempo, all the different things going on in the mix, the way that certain frequencies are left and certain frequencies are right, the structuring of the harmonization and the vocal parts, stacking backing vocals, and then sort of ending vocal lines with harmonization. The way everything is split up, but it's so full, so completely full. And then when you get to this bridge section, you get that doodle, and then that's like, oh, there's so much room now. Like there's so much space. It's really gives it a nice airy sort of floatiness to it. Drum fill. One and two and two. So fast. The vocals ramp up here. Oh, ad-lib. But strong, pretty strong. Like strong in terms of the rhythm, strong in terms of dynamics. Absolute saturated mix. Like it's cool. It's really cool. It's a great synthwave, retro wave kind of sound. It really, because when I listen to synthwave or retro wave, a lot of it sounds like quite noir, quite dark. This has a much brighter type of quality to it. Mostly because of the synth strings and then what's going on in the vocal as well. Those give a much brighter sort of color to the sound. But super saturated, man. Like crazy, like super busy. It's fun. It really is. It's just fun. Man. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see again, because this is like another sort of newer group, and the first time I'm hearing them. So this is one song that they have, but to see or hear, the other songs, because they probably have a different type of style to them. At least, that from the things I see here, it looks like it could have a different type of vibe to it. but it's a good take. It's a good approach to the style. It's got a lot going on. It's got a lot going on in terms of the composition and the production too. Super technical. Just because it's so rich with different sounds in it and everything. But it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun it's fun sound. It's a fun song. There's super fast rhythms, man, in the beginning. On this tempo, just going even to the 16th note. It's, man, like, it's a moving. But it's good. It's good. They definitely have that. They got some ability. They got some rhythmic ability and some dynamic ability as well. When they come in with the harmonizations on chorus parts and stuff, it's big. It's a big sound. Like, it's a really big sound. I think it worked really well with this style too. This sort of synthwave style. This, because of this richness of the entire synth mix, right? But it was cool. It's cool. It's definitely cool. It's an interesting, another group here. It's another younger group here. But that was fun, man. That was fun. Cherry Bullet, Love in Space. Again, I'm curious, and I look forward to seeing them, seeing how they do other styles. Maybe if there's any sort of variation in the styles and the see how they approach different sounds. But this was it was a really cool song, man. It's a really cool mix.